Yo, what is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 20 of our Tracksuit to the Top series here with Lewis FC in the Vanarama Conference. Hopefully you guys are good. Today I'll have for you guys episode 20. First and foremost, a massive thank you for your support on this series. I'm really pleased you guys have been enjoying it. I'm really pleased that I've been enjoying it. It's all worked out rather nicely so far. Today I have for you guys a live commentary against Braintree, or is it Braintree? I don't even know. We'll check. But first, I have some sad news to begin episode 20 on. And it pains me to say this, and if you've been paying attention in the bottom left, you may see a transfer that you didn't expect to see. That's right, I've sold Matthew Lewis. I might regret it, but I couldn't not take the money for him. I said at the start of the season that we'd had interest over the summer, and I said that he had a year left and it was going to be a risk that I might keep him till the end of the year, and then hope, that he played well enough for me to be able to give him a new contract and he'd take it. As this kind of opening season period has progressed, it's become more and more apparent that he didn't want to stay at the club and he probably wouldn't sign a new contract. And with the players and the teams that were interested in him, I just couldn't afford not to sell him. So you can see here we had like 20 odd teams interested. In the end, I have managed to offload him to Newcastle. Newcastle are paying £3.3 million. Like, I'm getting an absolutely ludicrous amount of money for a player in this division. I believe it's £2.5 million up front, and then it's £750k over the period of maybe 12 months or 18 months. And he also has a 35% profit sell-on fee, so we still could benefit from it there. But it's happened. I never really wanted it to happen, but I kind of had a change of heart, I guess, over the start of the season. I realised that despite how incredible he's been for us, I was probably just going to lose him on a free, and £3 million is a ridiculous sum of money to have at the level we're at, and it's going to allow me to strengthen the squad for a good few years. Realistically, that kind of money should see me to League One in the next few years and allow me to bring in the players that we need to achieve that. So I am very happy with that sale, and it is the biggest sale I've ever had in Football Manager in all my years of playing for a conference player. I've had a few fees in the region of £2 million for similar players, but £3.3 million, ridiculous. So I was happy with that. Anyway, on a slightly more positive note, I guess, we can take a look at our games you can see here. Since the game against Wickham last episode, we lost 1-0 to Altrincham, which was very disappointing. We then beat Harrogate 3-1, really good performance. You can see here a few players got knocked, including Matthew Lewis. So that was less than ideal, and we ended up getting the 3-1 win. We then got our second game in a row where we scored 3 goals. This time it was a 3-3 draw against Dartford. Actually, a game that we were way ahead in. We were 3-0 up at half time and we threw it away. Bitterly disappointing. The fact that our goalkeeper got man of the match perhaps gives you an idea of how good he was in goal for us. He certainly was the difference between us losing that game and not getting any points at all. And then for a third game in a row, we scored 3 goals, this time beating Alfreton Town 3-2. Good result. Marcus Barnes with the late winner. He's been a very good player for us, Marcus. You can see he's scored 5 goals in 13 games. It's not an incredible record, but he's got some big goals for us, and this is another one to add to the scrapbook of important goals. In the next game, we lost 2-1 against Gateshead. Barnes again getting a goal here, however, this one wasn't of so much significance. Good, however, to see Jake Hesketh get man of the match. There's going to be a big kind of, a need for this guy to step up for us. He's played well to start this year. 3 goals, 6 assists is very impressive. But with Lewis now moving on in January, I need to get a really good striker if possible with some of the money that we recoup. And there is going to be a big kind of need for players like Jake Hesketh and a few others to really step up. Anyway, in the last result in our little run of fixtures, we beat Grimsby 2-1. Matthew Lewis getting the winning goal. Barnes getting another one for us. And you can see we dominated the game. It was a well-deserved win. We have still got Lewis until January, so we have still got 3 months left of his service. I'm hoping to make the most of that. It's also worth noting that despite the fact we're actually in 14th in the league, which is really mid-table, if you look at the league table in terms of team scoring goals, we are the second highest goal-scoring team. And defensively, we have one of the better defences in the league. We're in the top 9 defensively. The issue really has been so far for us this year is that we've just drawn far too many games. 6 draws in total simply isn't good enough. However, in the games that we have played, we've played against a lot of the teams at the top. We've played Chester, we've played Wickham, we've played Lincoln, we've played Alfreton, we've played Gateshead. We're going to have some easier games coming up now in the run-up to Christmas, and I'm hoping we can really capitalise on them and use them to propel ourselves up the table. The game that we have today against Braintree is actually the last kind of tough game for a little while. It's actually a team who were significantly high when I decided to do this live com. You'll notice they do have a game in hand, so if they were to win at this game against us, they would move back up to 7th. For us, if we win this game, which again we do have some games in hand, it could see us move up to 9th realistically, but it is also worth noting that a lot of teams have played 2 games more than ourselves, and if we were to win our 2 games in hand, we could easily make it into the playoff spots. However, that's all kind of ifs and buts. Realistically, we've just got to keep plodding on and getting some good results. But as I mentioned, we've played a lot of the tough games. Forest Green is another trickier one that we have, but it's certainly looking like we're going to have a nice run into Christmas, with the exception of 1 or 2 fixtures here and there. So anyway, looking at the squad, nothing too major going on. Muggeridge is out injured. He has signed a new contract for another year at the club, which is very nice. You guys might notice I'm using a new skin. I've been using this in some of my latest videos. I'd be interested to know what you guys think. It allows me to have a lot more information on screen with the lack of a sidebar, particularly for you guys on smaller mobile devices. So hopefully that kind of works out and you guys are able to see what's going on. And hopefully you actually like the skin itself, because I did kind of tinker with a few existing skins to get what you have in front of you here. But anyway, Muggeridge, as I mentioned, new contract. It's quite nice to be able to see the positives here. And he's currently out with a twisted ankle for the next 3 to 4 weeks. So that's a little bit disheartening, I guess. But we've still got some very good players in our midst who are fit. Ben Bacon, again, another player his contract runs out the end of the year again. I don't think we're going to quite get 3 million for this guy if I wanted to sell him. However, I'm hoping that we might be able to keep hold of him at the end of the year, and he's a player who we might be able to retain the services of, but time will tell on that front. But anyway, other than that, our team is looking fairly good. As I mentioned, in the league, we're not doing too shabbily. The squad itself, there's not too many injuries to speak of. Players are playing well. We've got a few players with bids on them, which I'm just repeatedly rejecting because they're just stupid loan offers. But I'm hoping that today we might be able to get a result that would see us, as I mentioned, kind of launch us up the table. We have a very young squad, so even with Matthew Lewis's departure, I'm very optimistic for what I can bring in with the money. You can actually see, looking at the finances here, 30% of what we sell we get back to spend, which doesn't sound that great, but when we're getting £2.5 million for a player, that is over, well, what is that? I'm trying to do the maths now in my head. It's a very healthy sum of, 600,000 odd pounds just to spend on players, which is more than enough, I think, for us to bolster the squad in the areas that we really need to do it in January. So I'm excited to get my hands on some budget. You can see here we actually have 800 grand. So there it is in actual money, what our budget is left. So I have been looking at strikers, weighing up my options, and I think there's going to be some really tasty ones to get our hands on. But anyway, let's not talk about Lewis too much. Let's embrace the time we have left with him. I feel like Lewis is like, this is going to sound a bit dark, but if you've ever had a pet and you've been told that they don't have long to be left with you, that's kind of how I'm feeling about Lewis right now. I feel like he's not got long left with us, and we've got to make the most of his time with us. So he is going to start, he's going to keep playing. Looking at our squad, players are all very fixed. We've not had a game in a little while. So let's get straight into this game against Braintree. A win for us could see us move as high as 9th. Hesketh is our key player. Braintree is actually predicted to lose this one. I like you, Mr. Pundit from football365.com, putting some faith in us ourselves. We're the only game today, so there's no other results to keep an eye on. Looking at them, they're going to be playing a 4-4-2 system. Hopefully we can capitalise perhaps on the lack of numbers in midfield. Going to be relying on our kind of wide men really to track back and work hard. But tactic really hasn't changed too much this year. I have fiddled around with the roles throughout this season, and I'm still not 100% set on this new tactic. Of course, for the first 2 years of this save, I was playing with a I was playing with a my brain stopped working, with a 4-4-2. There we go, my brain is back in gear. We were playing with a 4-4-2. And now we've obviously switched to the 4-2-3-1. I'm still trying to get a balance in the formation. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, they had a clear-cut chance there. We've actually dealt with it quite well. Looking at stats, we're having more of the ball Braintree, having a bit more in terms of what they do with the ball, creating a few more opportunities. But it's a fairly 50-50 game. Looking like we're on top. I'm just going to, confidently wait it out. Matthew Lewis, thank you very much, my son. Thank you very much. He grabs a goal. He's loving it. Take a bow. Matthew Lewis, ladies and gentlemen. What a man. What a man. Just steps up. Whack. Pick that out. Pick that out. I'm having a few frame rate issues here, so if the gameplay looks a little bit choppy, I'm not sure why that is. I'm trying to fiddle with some settings, but... Oh, Mullen, great save, my son. But yeah, we're having a few laggy issues, so if the match looks a little bit laggy, it is. No idea why it's doing it, but hopefully it's tolerable. I'm not even mad at the moment. We are 1-0 up. They've had 2 clear-cut chances. Mullen's held on to them both really well, done superbly in goal for us. Looking at his average, well, not his average rating, his rating for the game is 7.2 so far. Only Matthew Lewis doing better than him. But that's a good first half. I'm happy, boys. I'm happy. As I mentioned, Braintree are one of the teams kind of, competing for a playoff spot. They're the kind of team who we need to beat if we can. We're going straight out the traps here, flying. Can we get the ball in the box? No, we can't. No, we cannot. Looking at the stats, again, still very 50-50 in terms of the chances created. Braintree have had certainly the better of the clear-cut chances. However, as things stand... we're doing okay. Lewis! Oh, he's got to bury that to make it 2-0. That was the first clear-cut chance that's come our way. Matthew Lewis is able to take it and dispatch the opportunity, and now Norman is going to pick up the ball for them there. But it's okay. It's okay. We're 1-0 up. We're playing well. They've not had any shots yet this half, which is nice. But, we can't kind of, rest on what we have. We need to keep going forward as they now have a chance, and Cox bangs it in for Braintree. Jordan Cox getting his first goal of the game. Disappointing. Just a real lack of marking there. He's able to cut inside. Tackle's made and it just finds its way to Cox, who just ploughs it in. Keeper doesn't really stand a chance when the ball's to hit that hard from within the 18-yard box. What's happening? Nothing's happening. I don't know why I said 18-yard box. The penalty box is 12 yards, Jack. Oh, is it 12 yards? Now I'm doubting myself. Ants on a postcard. It is 12 yards. What's the 18-yard box? Where have I got that from? Or is that? I don't know. I'm broken. Let's make some tactical changes. We've not done any yet this game. People are going to moan at me in the chat, in the YouTube comments, if I don't make tactical changes, even though all our players are relatively fit and none of them really need to come off. And we've been playing okay. But we're going to put some fresh legs on, for the last 5 minutes. Just go hard at them. I am bringing on Ben Bacon. He's loving it. And I'm also bringing off Matthew Lewis, who's looking a little bit tired. Give Answer a run out because he has been injured, Give him a chance to get some match fitness. However, that is going to be all she wrote. Another draw, our 7th of the season. It's really been an issue so far this year. I'm going to tell the players that's not good enough. That really isn't good enough. Far too many draws happening so far this year. It does see us go up to 12th. If we win our game in hand, we can still go into the top 6, really. But we want to be chasing those playoff spots. And right now, we're not doing enough to warrant kind of a place in those playoff spots. But anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Matthew Lewis getting run of the match just to rub salt into the wound about the fact he's leaving. In terms of when the next game's going to be, I'm not actually too sure. I might do the Aldershot game, or if we win a game against Uxbridge, it might be the FA Cup first round. I guess we'll just play it kind of by ear and see where we end up and what kind of result ends up having some real significance to it. But hopefully you guys will stick around for that. As always, guys, thank you for watching. I'm glad you've enjoyed, or at least I hope you've enjoyed episode 20 to watch until this point. Let me know what you make of the Matthew Lewis transfer. Did I make the right decision? Is 3 million too good to turn down? Is he worth more than that? And what would you have done in my situation? Would you have held on to him and risked it and potentially lost him on a free, or have I just played it safe and done the smart and correct thing to do? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Anyway, that is going to wrap things up from me. As I said, thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed episode 20. If we could get 500 likes for episode 20, that would be absolutely incredible. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the next episode, where we will probably, fingers crossed, be playing in the FA Cup.